Hi friends, in Planet Earth Dating, it's Wednesday, March 22nd, 2017. In both the Lynn Life and the Jamie Body Mind, the authorized souls remain only child souls from the deeper, denser dimensions and nature realm's guardians, and the most recent invaders from above, who are body snatchers, criminal body snatchers, are not the most revolting group we've ever come across.
That's true.
They seem to have reasonably good attitudes as compared to the incredibly low standards of attitudes in the less dense regions.
That's true.
But our ground zero barometers are acting up. We've had a barrage of interactions with humanoid presences here in ground zero who are acting with an unusually clear assortment of poor intentions.
Yes, that's true.
And they represent presences, and the messages are, the answers are bad intentions.
That's
and
true.
rudeness to boot.
That's
and
true.
incompetence on top of all of that. Why do you ask? I don't think they expected the incompetence on top of all of it.
No.
I think they did expect the rudeness and the low integrity.
That's true.
And the surprise to them seems to be that those people then made big mistakes that hurt them. It wasn't just the crazy nickel and dime insults that were coming this way. I think what really surprised them is the huge, large error in the other direction.
That's
and
true.
if we were jerks, we would not point out that huge, large error going in the other direction. And we are
that's
going to
true.
point it out, but not until closing day, so that it will be as embarrassing as possible to the participants.
That's true.
Why do you ask?
Why do you ask?
Because they don't want us to wait till closing day to point out the error. They say just kind of like, you should be a nice person. Oh, really?
Why do you base that on?
What do you base that on? Help us understand. Why should we be nice? They've started being really, really revolting. They're being really insulting.
And inappropriate.
Completely inappropriate. Why? Help us understand.
And there's kind of that response of, well, this is how it's done. That's how it's done. You just don't understand.
Oh, interesting. What don't we understand?
What
Please
don't we
explain. We can
understand?
hear you very well. Hemming, hawing. I can see you shifting back and forth. I can see that there are windows behind you.
That's
I can
true.
see that there are papers all over, including on the floor.
That's true. And I feel you breathing in the chair.
Yes, I see you. What is it?
What don't we understand?
I know this feeling. Shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up! That's the feeling. Now,
Yes.
you're not saying it, but that is how you're feeling.
That's true.
What now, in order to upgrade the standards of integrity to that which will actually work to manifest the divine plan? And suddenly I see Pan in his office, and he is a person of unusually high integrity compared to the low standards of the day, and I'm not trying to slam him with
No,
that.
that's true.
But nobody else seems to be operating with integrity that we are able to maintain consistent connections with.
That's true.
Everybody else who passes through here either is operating with low integrity or they're operating with acceptable integrity, but they are squashed like bugs by those who are operating with low integrity. So they're really not relevant to the process.
That's true.
Why do you ask?
I'm asking because I was hoping you would make something easier for me.
It's not looking good for that.
No, that's
Why do you
true.
want it to be made easier for you?
Why do you?
It feels like, well, and he's walking over, it's a very raw kind of feeling. He's walking over and he's getting a kind of glass of something, or a cup of coffee, or
That's
tea,
true.
or something, or... Is that alcoholic?
It looks like alcohol, like
okay.
scotch or brandy.
Friend, hold on. Don't drink. Don't numb up. Don't drug yourself, and shame on you.
He's saying I always drink at the office. This is what we all do. Everyone drinks at work.
Yes, we're aware of that. We're aware of that, and that has no integrity. What now, in order to upgrade the standards of integrity to that which will actually work to manifest the divine plan for all dimensions, no matter what anyone else does or doesn't do, since that's what our soul contracts commit us to doing. And unlike almost all presences that we come in contact with, we intend to keep our commitments. Now, Pan also seems to intend to keep his commitment because he keeps coming back.
That's true.
And he keeps coming back from the future after his soul transcends one dimension into another. Some people call that death or
That's
dying.
True.
And he keeps coming back because he can feel it isn't done. And he feels sick inside knowing that it isn't done, and that, like everybody else, he's on the hook to manifest the divine plan no matter what anyone else does or doesn't do. And that seems to bother him like it bothers us.
That's true.
Why do you ask?
Why do you ask? I don't see that guy anymore. He seems to be below where the periscope top is.
But now, in order to upgrade the standards of integrity to that which will actually work to manifest the divine plan. And what do I know? I know that it was our Ra who first put that. Well, I don't know. That question was put on the table in the presence of our Ra.
That's true.
And he had that hit in the chest feeling, but then he gathered himself together and did the right thing and started to do what it would take to upgrade his personal standards of integrity. Why do you ask?
But now they're pretending they didn't ask that question.
Look, somebody did, and I can feel the room that it came from, and it's this one right here, and I can like tug the belt. This person here is the one who and his pants are falling down now. That's what's happening.
That's true.
The person whose pants are falling down is the one who
asked
that question. This guy right here. Now, somebody's saying, why are you pulling that guy's pants down? I didn't pull his pants down. I grabbed on his belt to identify him as the one who asked the question, and I'm attempting to pull him down here in front of the camera, and he's resisting, so his pants came, and he didn't come.
That's true.
Why do you ask? Well, they are not having a fun day today.
No.
But now, in order to upgrade the standards of integrity to that which will actually work to manifest the divine plan for all dimensions, no matter what anyone else does or doesn't do, since that's what our soul contracts commit us to doing. What now? Bumping up dead children and fallen heroes. Dead children and fallen heroes in a 9-to-1 ratio. 9 dead children per 1 fallen hero from the electron level. Up, 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 through us, straight through the fractures of light. No bobbing and weaving, straight up. The search for truth central axis, straight up. Sorry, the search for truth central axis. Higher, higher, a little bit of zoom, zoom. It's kind of that bifurcation movement, but I'm not having the conceptual. I'm just trying to clear the path to those who are going to provide an answer. In other words, all of us who really want to hear the answer to the question, to the search for truth central axis, all others flung away. I see a new face, and he says, the answer to what question? And he doesn't seem to be faking it.
No, that's true.
The question is, what now, in order to upgrade the standards of integrity to that which will actually work to manifest the divine plan for all dimensions, no matter what anyone else does or doesn't do, since that's what our soul contracts commit us to doing. What now? And he looks like you've got to be joking me. Show me where your soul contracts say that. Oh, okay. Here we go. Right here. Clang, clang, ironclad contracts, or so we've been said by many, 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 many legal minds and many, 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 many dimensions, that there's no way out of this contract, and we're not trying to get out of it.
No,
we're trying to actually live to it. We're trying to complete the contract. The only way out of it is to complete it. Our intention is to manifest the divine plan for all dimensions, no matter what anyone else does or doesn't do. And what's been coming up in today's series of messages is an extreme lack of integrity in all dimensions. And so we know that that's a problem, and we've known that for quite some time. It comes up in the testing periodically as job number 1.
That's true.
And it's on the table today as job number 1 for today. So what now, in order to upgrade the standards of integrity to that which will actually, throughout all the dimensions through which we're operating, he said where, all the dimensions through which we're operating.
That's true.
So he says that's impossible. Well, we've been given opinions like that before, but we don't share that opinion. Nothing is impossible.
That's true.
Difficult is not the same as impossible. It's difficult, we agree. It's not easy to do. No argument about that, but that's different than impossible. What now, in order to upgrade the standards of integrity for all the dimensions through which we're operating, in order to manifest the divine plan for all dimensions, no matter what anyone else does or doesn't do, since that's what our soul contracts commit us to doing. What now? He says, I'm not the person who knows the answer to that question. I'm not the right guy for you. Fine, can you patch us through to whoever you listen to above, who's straight up the Search for Truth Central Axis? Are you willing to patch us through to wiser minds above? And we will ask them, what now, in order to upgrade the standards of integrity to that which will actually work to manifest the divine plan, and to upgrade those standards through all dimensions, in all dimensions, and for all dimensions through which we are currently intersecting, in order to manifest the divine plan for all dimensions, no matter what anyone else does or doesn't do, since that's what our soul contracts commit us to doing.
I feel handing up feeling.
Here you go. So we just hand up our channels and ask that they be handed up higher. And to those who are bending down to grab the channels, we ask, would you be willing to hand these up even higher to those who are looking down on your actions, and hand them up to those who are observing you from above. There we go.
With the handing up feeling.
Handing up feeling. And to those who are reaching down and grabbing these channels right now, we're asking, would you be willing to pass these channels up another level to those who are looking down? They say nobody's looking down on them. They are, though.
I don't think that's true.
Look up. You
Yeah.
can see them. I can see them. And if I can see them from here and you can't see them, that makes you look foolish.
That's true.
They're pretending to not see. Okay, so to those who are looking down on them, can you see these people are pretending that you don't exist?
Nodding, nodding.
Would you be willing to reach down and grab our channels and pull them up to you? I feel pulling up feelings. What now, in order to upgrade the standards of integrity for all the dimensions between where we are and where you are, and including from where Pan is down there.
That's true.
And maybe from where Bottom Pulley is if he's below Pan.
That's true.
All these dimensions, all the way up to you. What now, in order to upgrade the standards of integrity through all those dimensions to that which will actually work to manifest the divine plan for all dimensions, no matter what anyone else does or doesn't do, since that's what our soul contracts commit us to doing. It's very quiet.
Very quiet.
I see the room of presences, and they're looking at each other with a shocked look on their faces.
That's true.
What now?
And there's a wind blowing in the room where they're sitting, and the papers are being rustled on the desk.
Bifurcate. All of us who really want to hear the answer to the question, to the Search for Truth Central Axis, all others flung away. That room is kind of falling away. They don't want to hear the answer to the question. But we now have a very nice tall pillar that's nicely run up. The cables of dead children, 9 dead children to every fallen hero. Let's try from the smaller subatomic levels. From the neutron levels, of course from the electron levels that we began with, from the molecular levels,
Whoa.
and from the cellular levels. 9 dead children for every fallen hero, running them up, way up high. And to the children and to the heroes we say, when you start to fall down, as is inevitable, get off at that level. Tell the presences you find there what happened to you. Ask them why it happened that way, not so that you can hear their answer, but so that they will actually look at the situation accurately.
That's true.
And then ask, if they are willing to do something to upgrade the standards of integrity to that which will actually work to manifest the divine plan for all these dimensions.
Including the emissions of the week that ends this coming Saturday at midnight. Including the emissions for the listing period that ends with successful completion of a successful closing that is scheduled to end this coming Monday, March 27th. Including the emissions for the month of March, start to finish. Including the emissions for the year of 2017, start to finish.